and accidentally peeled off some skin from my notebook that I got from an
unsuspecting victim.
Today, I'll be testing out 3 different ways to make paper squishies without polyfill as stuffing, and at the end, I will battle it out at a final challenge to see whose squishiness reigns supreme. Okay, intro out of the way, let's go, come on. Starting with our first paper squishing method, I'm bringing in some white paper as well as a black pen. Oh, and here's the name brand if you were curious. For this first design, I'm drawing my channel icon. I get a lot of comments telling me that it has a strong resemblance to Kirby. I'm not lying here, this was a complete coincidence. Anyways, I'm adding extra details to the eyes with some white and blue ink. Truthfully speaking, it looked much better in my head than it looked in real life, I'll tell you that much. Like, you could barely see the blue, and the white was very much not opaque enough. I tried going over everything one more time, but this is where I'm drawing the line for now. As for the rest of the icon, I'm using colored pencils to do the trick. Now, if you wanted to learn more about how and why I started this channel, I recommend you to watch my Q&A video. I'm not forcing anybody, it's ultimately up to you. It's fine if you don't, but it'd be nice if you did. But in summary, this icon was literally drawn on paint.net, so based on that fact alone, you could probably tell that I had absolutely no expectations of how much this channel could grow. But now that the coloring's done, it's time to form it into a paper squishy. I'm in the process of forming a long strip of paper with our drawing on it. Let's move our drawing supplies out of the way and use our clear tape to laminate the entire sheet of paper. Unfortunately, I didn't do the best job of taping and accidentally peeled off some skin from my notebook. But we can finally fold our paper in half and cut around the Meepyblues icon so that we have 2 identical copies. Next step, we're going to tape the edges together by folding thin strips of tape over the 2 sheets of paper, forming a pocket. Now, we can't use polyfill as stuffing, so we're going to try our hands at memory foam that I got from an
unsuspecting victim.
I'm cutting the foam into small pieces so that I can insert them into the paper squishy more easily. I'm sorry, this topic is so random, but why do people feel superior just because they're older than you? I often see this mindset online that someone is better than you just because they're 15 and you're 14 and a half. Like, why? Okay, that was an exaggerated example, but to that, I'll just say this. Just because you're older doesn't mean you're more mature. After sealing off the final edge with tape, our first paper squishy is complete. I'm going to refrain from squishing as we're saving that test for the end, but for now, let's try out the next paper squishy method. For the second method, I'm bringing out the plastic bago. As a kid, I frequented Ross so often as a kid, and I hated that place. But over the years, my intense disdain for the store has faded since I don't visit Ross as much anymore. I can also come to appreciate their discount deals as I've grown older, but more to show my appreciation than ripping and gnawing this poor bag into shreds. No, I had only done this because the entire bag would be too much material to work with. With the leftover plastic, I'm crumpling the edges into the center, carefully shaping the bag into a spherical shape. To keep the plastic intact, I'm bringing my black duct tape. This will be fun to work with. Here, I'm cutting off a piece of duct tape and sealing the place where we tucked the bag inwards shut. I'm repeating the same steps, except I'm using the tape to cover the entire surface of our plastic bag in hopes of forming it into a ball shape. Eventually, this is what I came up with. Yeah, the quote-unquote ball looks more like a flattened marshmallow, but for some weird reason, I kinda like it more this way. Now, there's still one last step to do. I'm bringing in the white paper that I used earlier and ripped off a small piece. If you couldn't tell what I was intending on making, I'm making a magic 8-ball paper squishy. I wrote the number 8 inside a circle, cut out the circle using some scissors, using an eraser that has for sure seen better days, to remove the pencil sketches. Oh my lord, we're not doing this again. And finally, use some clear tape, which caught a stray paper scrap. Screw you, paper scrap. To attach the circle into our paper squishy. I don't think so. Using scissors to help the tape bind onto the squishy more smoothly. And here is our second paper squishy. This is the one I have the highest hopes for. I think this will be the squishiest one. Really trying my best not to squish the life out of it, because we still have one more method left to try. Since I had extra time today, I wanted to take some time to fulfill one of your guys' wishes. Recently, I've gotten a lot of comments asking me to reveal my paper squishy collection, and well, here it is. I keep all of my paper squishies in here in this green container. Although I don't think I could fit everything in here. Might need a second container if I continue down this path. Before I open this, want to take a little guess on how many there are in here? I wish I knew the answer to that too, but too lazy to count. Well, let's open the lid and... that is not a paper squishy. I don't know why that's in there. And let's dump everything out. I don't really organize my paper squishies in any way. clearly. Ooh, this is one of my favorite books of all time. He walks up to a rock. He stares. Highly recommend. Every time I open this box up, it just floods me with memories of all of the crafts that I've done on this channel. Quite a surreal experience. Well, that's it for my paper squishy collection. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. For our third and final paper squishy method, I'm once again using the leftover paper from the first two methods to make yet again another paper squishy. Yay for being terribly redundant today. I'm sorry. This time, I ought to owe my good old pal Snoopy for his
donations.
P.S. Those foam scraps were not from him. They came from an old seat pad by making a paper squishy of him. Next, I'm darkening the lines with my black marker, focusing on the eye, nose, and ears. I wish I had brought Snoopy right next to me while I was drawing this, though, because looking back, the proportions are looking a little bit whack, but whatever. After that's done, I'm folding some paper behind the drawing and cutting Snoopy's head out with scissors. Wow, that sounds so wrong. Now, unlike the Meepyblues squishy, I'm cutting out an extra strip because I want to make this squishy more 3D. If you've been following me for a while, you would know that I'm actually not very fond of making paper squishies. I just want to squish them. This time I made the paper squishy thicker so that even though they may take me more effort, the final result has more substance to squish, you feel me? Wow, that was a useless rant. Back to the subject at hand. This third method will involve me cutting out paper strips to use as stuffing, which you know probably won't provide the squish that polyfill provides, but at least paper strips are accessible enough and can at least act as a filler. So one by one, I'm collapsing the strips into the tiny little hole in hopes that maybe, just maybe, this paper squishy will turn out well. Compared to the other two methods, the stuffing insertion process was not the most enjoyable. Granted, stuffing a paper squishy was no fun to me to begin with, had I used even stuffing for this step of the process. All that's left to do is to tape the remaining untaped parts for extra durability, and with that, here's our beautiful Snoopy paper squishy. Like the second paper squishy, I was very tempted to squish the living daylights out of it, but alas, we have a mission. It's time to put the 3 paper squishies to the squish test. Each squishy will be rated out of 5 stars based off of squishiness and enjoyment, how fun it is to squish. First off, we have the Meepyblues squishy with the foam stuffing. Fun fact, this was actually how I made paper squishies when I first started posting on this channel, so this is nothing new to me. For this one, I'll give it 3 stars. It's a run-of-the-mill, average feeling paper squishy. Don't know if I used that idiom correctly, but solid, but nothing that blows me out of the water. Next is the Magic 8-Ball squishy with a plastic bag as stuffing. I'll give this one 5 stars. I felt comfortable enough to squish it hard since it had duct tape surrounding the outside, even though at times it wouldn't rise back up fully. Overall, very enjoyable. And lastly, the Snoopy paper squishy. I'd give this a 2 stars because it's not as much a slow rising paper squishy as it is crunchy. It's just a different sensation and I just prefer my paper squishies to be slow rising. And with that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video entertaining and helpful. Please like and subscribe and I'll see you guys later. Meepyblues out.